And now, the Cottage Springs Punch Out of the Week. Find your favorite flavors at cottagesprings.ca. So I know I did the Cottage Spring Punch Out of the Week last week as well, but since you're doing the list this week, I'm hogging it. I'm doing it 2 weeks in a row.
Go for it, bud.
But before we do that, gotta crack open one of the brand new flavors that Cottage Springs has. This is
What do you
the strawberry
Ooh.
vodka soda, and it is wonderful. We'll crack that bad boy open. Cheers to Cottage Springs.
You know,
And
I keep getting texts from listeners and some friends saying that we turn them on to Cottage Springs.
I my
Good Walsh said his fridge is now full with Cottage Springs.
I will also say Barry Wrestling's own Hall of Famers, Shelley King Weiss and Brian Weiss, sent me some pictures of themselves drinking Cottage Springs as well
Amazing.
a couple weeks last week. So I tell you, we're not just shelling here. We love the product, and
Exactly.
this new strawberry flavor is really good. I highly recommend checking out that pack with the new flavors in it. They have their punch outs, they have their springers. It's
They still
like
have the tequila
they have
brands,
the tequila, the iced
yeah,
teas,
the flavored vodkas.
the waters. I love the
So much.
waters too.
I love
I'm all about that strawberry kiwi water that they
Yeah,
have. It
yeah.
might be my favorite drink of all time.
I know you don't dig raspberry in general, but that raspberry water comes in a 1 liter box. Oh,
Yes.
dangerous, man.
See, I'm just not a raspberry guy. Now, the cottage spring raspberry one's good, but the first alcohol that I ever threw up off of was a raspberry vodka. So nothing to do with cottage springs at
Yeah,
all. I just
yeah.
had PTSD. Like I just can't go near a raspberry vodka. But that's why I like the fact that when we buy a pack, I can just give you the raspberry stuff and
Yeah,
I'll take the
exactly.
watermelon stuff because
Exactly.
I love me the watermelons.
Yeah.
But anyways, so thank you, Cottage Springs, as always, for being a great tag team partner of ours. And we're going to talk about what I thought was one of the biggest angles in the last little while. Definitely one that got the wrestling world talking.
hmm
I'm going to
One
talk,
way or another, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing.
yeah, and I want to get your take on it in a minute as well. But let's start right off with the hot angle that they shot last week on AEW with Jack Perry, the new elite, and Tony Khan getting
Mhm.
laid out. What we were both very skeptical and not a big fan of the idea of them releasing the footage of the CM Punk Jack Perry fight.
Mhm.
Now we are 2, 3 weeks removed from that. I believe 2 weeks removed from that now. Good, bad idea still, and where do you think we are with this whole Jack Perry situation?
I still don't think they should have released the footage. I think it was unprofessional on their part. If I said a couple of weeks ago, I said the only person that's going to benefit from this was Jack Perry, and I'm not wrong. Jack's using it. Jack is whether you want to admit it or not, and whether or not it's in the right way or not. Jack is over. Jack Perry has made a name for himself. He did the scapegoat stuff over in Japan. He really pushed himself as this new heel character. He's back in AEW now. This thing with Tony, which we'll get more into in a second, I think it's going to work for him. Whether or not that has anything to do with the footage, I think they still get here without the footage though.
Um,
I don't think you need that footage because he was already doing the scapegoat shit in Japan. He did the contract ripping up. He was wearing the mask and had the jacket, the Crimea River. He was doing all that stuff before they even released that footage.
I think that releasing the footage turned him into a hero in the world of AEW
But is that
because
what they
see,
need? Is that what they want?
well, they need to expand outside of AEW, but
Yeah.
releasing the footage got people to take more notice of AEW than they have in a while.
You know what?
And
This
and
is
this follow up and since they've released the footage, they put out, which is going to be probably in the top three best pay-per-views of the year, if not the best pay-per-view in the year in Dynasty, from top
Mhm.
to bottom, and that was my punch out of the week last week. And
Yeah.
then they followed up with the best angle that they've probably ever shot so far, in my opinion. At least the most like the maybe not even like it might not be the best executed. It might, you can laugh at
No,
whatever,
and
but
and that and
it's
that's my only
it
issue
is
with
the
it.
hottest angle that they have ever shot. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100%. It's getting the most talk, and say what you want. doesn't matter if people are crapping on something or saying good things. If they're talking, it works.
Hmm.
And in this case, yeah, a lot of people are crapping on this storyline. I don't. The people who are crapping on it, I don't think understand it. And if listen, if you're just crapping on it because Tony looks so awkward and doesn't know how to work, fine. But guess what? Vince McMahon made himself famous doing this exact angle 25 years ago. And I hate to tell you something, kids, but he couldn't work either.
Well,
That
now
could that
let,
dude couldn't take a stunner to save his life.
let me ask you a question. You said Vince made himself famous doing the same thing. Tony Khan's the babyface here, is he not?
I said last week, I believe it was last week,
Two
I
weeks
told you
ago.
that, was it 2 weeks ago? I
Yeah.
told you that the best way for them to go forward on this is put Tony into the Vince McMahon role, where you flat out said, no, that's a bad idea. That is what they're doing. They're just doing reverse.
Yeah, but
Instead,
that's what I mean. Tony's a
they're,
face,
they're
right?
doing they're doing the reverse. Instead of Stone Cold is Jack Perry in this position, except Jack Perry is the heel and Vince McMahon is the face. Tony, it depends on how far they want to go with it. Um, Vince McMahon as that heel character was so easy to hate that they were able to get years out of that program, out of that character. Tony Khan is a face. You're not getting much time out of this. People are not going to cheer for Tony every week. They're not, you know? So it might have been good for 1 week. It depends on where they want to go, but Tony as an on-screen character, they're going to have to find something very special if they want to keep it
I I
going.
don't think we're gonna see Tony as a regular on-screen character. I don't. I think Tony's been a periodically he's been on TV, periodically over the last 4 years.
Yeah,
But I think that he's gonna be off TV selling this injury, and we'll talk about that in a moment.
sure.
And I don't think we see Tony back until he's ready to announce a blood and guts match to culminate this feud.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be surprised to see him back, right? Um, I
So
will.
so who's the babyface in the scenario then? Who's gonna be the elite's Stone Cold Steve Austin here?
I think Kenny Omega.
You think Kenny's getting back in the ring though? Like I just heard just a couple
Kenny
weeks ago that Kenny was in really bad shape.
Kenny's coming to Dynamite this week.
Right, but that doesn't mean he's ready to wrestle.
No, but I mean, how many months away do you think he could be? I don't know. They could be working us on that too, right?
Very well could be.
I think Kenny Omega makes a lot of sense to be in there. I think Kenny has to be the person. I don't think that they should have started this angle unless Kenny is close to being ready,
Right.
because like Kenny and Okada is right there,
Yeah.
and that is like
No,
the
and if they
match.
want to do an elite storyline, the two people that make the most sense going up against them are Kenny and Hangman.
Yeah. Now Hangman, I think he's kind of tweening right now as a heel, but
Yeah.
I do think Hangman would be a good
It's
choice to
just
be
that,
in there.
Cody and Marty are both, that's not going to happen.
No,
So the only person really available would be Hangman.
I think Adam Copeland makes a lot of sense to be put in that role as
Hmm.
well. MJF could make a lot of sense to come back if he's
I
healthy, but I've heard he's real banged up as well.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
I also like Chris Jericho in that role because he's Mr.
But he
AEW.
but he's fresh off a heel turn, right?
It's Jericho. He could
Yeah.
get face heel, whatever. But in my perfect world, I think we do. And it's too bad that he's hurt because I think Darby Allin would be a really good choice
Or
in that role.
yeah.
I'm not a huge Darby fan, but I mean, he's one of the pillars, right?
But he is one of the names that I thought of, and the screw the broken foot. Now he's got a lot more issues to deal with his accident the other day. So
He just broke
I
his
think
nose, though, eh?
that's all that happened.
Yeah, he pushed his friend out of the way of a bus, and the mirror hit him in the face.
Oh, okay.
But
That,
here,
that's
I think we go.
that's
This
got
is
to be
my
one.
final answer. I would like to see Kenny, Hangman, Adam Copeland, and the reuniting of him and Christian together.
Yeah,
And I would like to see that because I think then you've got Christian and the Young Bucks, you've got Okada and Kenny, and you've got Perry and Hangman. That's why I think Darby would be better. So let's hope for Darby.
Possibly one more name if that could come in, especially if Christian's going to come in, because Jack Perry's on the other side. Maybe Luchasaurus.
Yeah, or Wardlow.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know
Not,
why.
not the big
Wardlow.
fan of Wardlow.
Neither am
But
I,
I was
but
thinking because Luchasaurus he ties into everybody, right? So I
yeah.
just thought, you know,
Yeah, he just doesn't feel big enough.
hmm,
And
I
his
don't know.
name is Killswitch now, okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing I want to
Marco
say,
Stunt.
okay. The last point I want to make before we wrap up this segment is very smart timing, and I heard this was done intentionally for Tony to get laid out on TV
Uh-huh.
because he got a lot of attention at the NFL draft,
Sure
and
did.
the NFL is the biggest player in the world.
Hmm.
So I
But
just thought it
I
was
don't know, man. I'm not impressed with any of that. Uh, the neck brace thing aside, I think it was silly. Kayfabe's been dead for 20 years. I don't know what he's trying to pull. But even if
he's
I didn't have
trying
a
to get
problem with
people
that,
to talk about him.
sure, which it's working. Put that aside. Where my problem lies, he went on NFL Network and called WWE the Harvey Weinstein of wrestling.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was really dumb.
The thing that I found funniest, and I just thought it was hilarious that he would have his neck brace on, and then he'd just be turning his head, having the
Mhm.
comment. Like that's what I laughed
They
about.
they made they were talking about that. Pat
Pat
McAfee and a bunch of
McAfee.
other guys were talking about it, and that one dude just like, listen, I don't have a problem with this, but if he's gonna play it, play it.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that was good. But I mean, the NFL is the big dog, and a lot of people were talking about it. I got messages from my friends who are not wrestling fans, and
yeah,
I got a phone call from a listener of our a good friend of ours, Kerr, former guest of the show, and he was dying laughing, saying, "What is
yeah,
Tony Khan doing?" Right? Got people talking. And then, of course, the WWE comes out and brings Patrick Mahomes on TV for the biggest star, one of the top two biggest stars in the NFL. So, anything you can do, we can do better, I guess, Tony Khan.
I
But
guess so. Yeah,
I'm really happy with this angle. I'm really excited to see what happens going forward. Kenny Omega coming back in Winnipeg this week is going to be awesome. And for all these reasons, so much more, that is why that is my Cottage Springs punch out of the week.